When we can change the belief and believe, what starts to happen is we start to have an inner knowing. It's this inner knowing. Now, that comes later. You go from believing to knowing, but you start with changing your beliefs. That's where we start. And if you can believe something different, your whole world just opens up.
Welcome, Mary Lou. Welcome. I'm so thrilled to have you here. And one of the things that I'd love for you to do is to introduce yourself. Tell me about who you are and what you do.
Okay, so my name is Mary Lou Rodriguez. I live in Portland, Oregon. I have the most amazing partner. We've been dating a year and a half, and we have a pit bull and a cat that I have adopted. I am their mama, and I am living my best life. I am so happy. I have peace in my heart. And what I do in the world, my tool that I use in the world is hypnosis. And I help people reprogram their minds so that they can be the person that they want to be and live their life the way that they want to live. And so I'm excited to talk. I was about to dive into what kinds of clients that I work with, but I'm really excited to be here and to teach people how incredibly powerful hypnosis is. And so.
Why don't you start with that? Because I'm going to put my hand up and I'm going to be honest and say probably about maybe 3-4 years ago, if you had said to me hypnosis, I would have been like, oh my gosh, I'd have run for the hills, because what I had been told and what I'd seen about hypnosis was all the stage stuff, like cluck like a chicken and mind control and sleep, right? And then you're going to take all my money from my bank account and get me to tell you all my secrets. So what is hypnosis? Let's start there by you helping define what is hypnosis.
Yes. So most people think when they haven't been exposed to hypnosis, or their first exposure to hypnosis is stage hypnosis. And stage hypnosis is for entertainment. And maybe one day I'll be a stage hypnotist, or maybe I'll do one show, but that's not my calling for right now. I work with transformational hypnosis, which means that I help people train their brain to succeed at whatever it is that they're coming to see me for. I help them believe that it's absolutely possible that their vision of how they want to live their life, that they can do that and they can be that and they can have that. I know that was a funky way of saying it, but and I work with all kinds of people. Now I tend to work with more entrepreneurs, but there was a time where I worked with people who wanted to quit smoking, who wanted to quit drinking. And for those of you who don't know, I know you don't know anything about me, I've chosen to be sober. So I've been alcohol free for over 2 years of my life. And hypnosis is so incredibly powerful with helping people overcome addictions. And so when I first started practicing hypnosis, I worked with a lot of people who had addictions to alcohol, to sex, to smoking. And then I started to kind of broaden my horizons, and I started to work with more people who were coming to see me for self-sabotaging purposes. Like they knew they wanted to lose the weight. They knew that they wanted to, whatever it was that they were wanting in their life, but they couldn't figure out how to get out of their own way and accomplish their goals.
You said something so powerful there, Mary Lou, in that it can help you succeed. So how does hypnosis actually work? Like what is the subconscious mind? How is it working? And what are some of the ways that you've heard, or the things that you've heard from people around their misconceptions about what it is and what it isn't?
Yeah, thank you so much for asking that question, because I know I dove right into to the results. But hypnosis is really fascinating because I don't know how much people know here. So I'm just going to start at the foundation. So we use 90% of our brain is our subconscious mind. Now, people can say 95, but I usually just go with the standard 90% is our subconscious mind. And what that means is that our subconscious mind is where our beliefs are, our habits are, our emotions are, our spirituality is located. And so with hypnosis, we are able to access the subconscious mind by having you become relaxed. So if you have ever seen the stage, and most people have, and I don't know here how many people have actually listened to a hypnosis audio or have seen a hypnotherapist, but the very beginning part of our session is all about relaxation. It's relaxing your fingers, it's relaxing your body. It's really just anchoring in this feeling of relaxation. And when you become relaxed, your brain waves, so your brain starts to slow down. Your thoughts, you're not actively thinking, you're not in overthinking, you begin to slow down and relax. And when you relax, we're able to access your subconscious mind where your beliefs are. And that's really what I work with people on, are beliefs and habits. Beliefs and habits. And by accessing, there isn't any like surgical tool that I use other than my voice to help people relax. And then what's powerful about the work that I do is that I incorporate what people want to believe. So let's say, for example, Sandra was like, Mary Lou, I want to believe that I am worthy. And I will say, okay, Sandra, tell me what worthiness means to you. And she'll say, worthiness means being my authentic self. Worthiness means standing in my power. So in our hypnosis session, what I'll do is I'll take Sandra's words and I'll incorporate her vision of her life while she's deeply relaxed, because when you're deeply relaxed, you become more suggestible. That's what happens. We become more suggestible. And then as we become more suggestible, we start to believe, we start to reprogram and rewire our beliefs. And did I answer your question? Because I know that there was a lot there. So
There was a lot there, and let's keep digging in because I really want people to get what hypnosis is and hypnotherapy. Because one of the distinctions that, I love that you made at the very beginning is the fact that there's stage hypnotherapy and then hypnosis, and then there's actual hypnotherapy, which is what you do, which is where you're helping people make positive changes in their life. Now, let's go back to a really key fundamental point. And I know you talked about the numbers and you said somewhere between 90 to 95%. So help us understand that. So for most of the time, most of what we do in a day, we're using the 90% that is our subconscious mind?
Yeah, that is correct. And thank you for asking that question. So our subconscious mind, and I know you're going to ask me how it's formed, so I will, I'll talk about that in a second. But our subconscious mind, whether we realize it or not. So let me just back up here because it's important for you to understand this. So the way that our subconscious beliefs, our subconscious mind is formed is, and I'm just going to just start off here, is between the ages of 0 and 7. When we were growing up, we were very suggestible. We were in a slower brainwave state called theta brainwave state. So if you have children, you know that your children can learn so quickly. And so what that means, being suggestible growing up, means that everything we were told, everything we heard, everything we saw went into our brains unedited, and it became a program that we now operate with. So we have these programs, these beliefs, these patterns that we're not even aware of that are running our subconscious mind, and they are dictating our decisions and actions. And many people don't realize that that's what's happening. They're just like, oh, I am this way, I believe this way, and we don't really know why or think about why. So part of the work that I do is helping people understand why they have certain patterns and certain beliefs. And it's always because of the way that we were raised. The way that we were raised has everything to do with what we believe today about ourselves. I hope that makes sense. And I apologize. I know I'm as clear as mud. And I think part of it is because
you're being crystal clear. And the reason that we're kind of keep hammering on this and coming back to is because I really want people to understand, because so many people I had never heard until I was introduced to hypnotherapy. I'd never heard of the fact that, oh, wow, most of what I do is coming from the 90% that is subconscious. Because I think for most people, we think as we're going through our day, we think we're making decisions, right? Our conscious mind is saying, turn left, turn right. And so we think we're running our lives, and little do we realize that, no, your
Yeah.
your subconscious mind is really in the driver's seat.
Yes.
You talked
Thank
about
you.
self-sabotage. Tell me
Yeah.
some of the ways, or with some of the clients that you've worked with, what are some of the ways that self-sabotage has shown itself?
Yeah. Oh, I love talking self-sabotage because it's so interesting how we can get in our own way and not even really understand why. Procrastination, procrastination is a big form of self-sabotage. The ability to take action, that's another form of self-sabotage. Um, and those are the external, usually, it's like those are the external factors. And inside, and that's why I love what Sandra's doing, is because we're looking at the truth. But self-sabotage is just anything that gets in the way of you living your best life, or whatever your vision is, or whatever your goal is. So anything stopping you from that, there is some form of self-sabotage happening, whether you understand that or not.
And you talked a little bit, you kind of touched on the process. So really it's about allowing you to get relaxed. How is it different? So how is hypnotherapy different than, I know, for example, I do meditation. How is it
Yeah.
different than meditation?
Yeah. And that's such a great question. And I get asked that a lot. So so in meditation and with hypnosis, we're going to the same place. We're going to alpha brainwave state and theta brainwave state, which are relaxed states of consciousness. And we're going to the same place. Typically with hypnosis, it's specifically for brain training. You want to train your brain? We're going to do hypnosis to rewire your subconscious beliefs. Meditation, now, not to say that that can't be the intention, but typically meditation is for relaxation. It's for mindfulness. It's for learning to focus on breath. It's to slow down. It's to practice being present and in the moment. And so for me, I use meditation when I want to feel my feelings, when I want to just kind of slow down and process, I'll use meditation. But if I'm looking to train my brain, it's always hypnosis. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so effectively with I guess the way that I've understood it is that with meditation, it's like you said, you're wanting to be aware, you wanting to go to the feelings, to process the feelings, to really get in a relaxed state of mind.
Yeah.
Whereas with hypnotherapy, it's
Yes.
more about putting in who do you want to be, how do you want to be, how do you want to show up in the world, or what do you
That's
want
right.
to change. So it's more
That's
an
right.
active
That's
way
right.
of, yeah.
I really describe it as brain training. You want to train your brain? Let's do hypnosis to reprogram those beliefs. Because, and I know you're going to ask me this question, but it's because of our beliefs. It's about what we believe about our vision. It's about what we believe about ourselves. And so in my work, that is exactly where I start, is with our beliefs. And so with hypnosis, it's I don't want to go too far off, but until you ask me the questions, but we're training the brain. So coming back to training the
Go
brain.
as deep as you want, go as far as you want, because I really want people, because one of the things that I certainly learned, as I said, I came to hypnotherapy a skeptic, because the
Yeah.
only things that I had heard
Yeah.
and seen were, I hate to use this word, but they were scary, right? The fact that,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, someone's going to make me cluck like a chicken and I'm going to be out of control and I'm not going to know what I'm doing. The other big thing was, I'm going to tell all my secrets.
Right. I know.
So, what are some of the
Yeah.
fears that people who come to you for the first time have about going into hypnosis?
Yeah, I think the biggest fear, and you named it, is mind control. It's like making somebody tell me their secrets, making somebody cluck like a chicken, and I have absolutely no control. You can say no. I think that people feel like when they go into the hypnosis, they become unconscious. And that is not the truth. You are still consciously aware. You know everything that's happening around you. And so you can just open your eyes at any point and just come right out of hypnosis. So I know that TV shows or movies that I've seen in the past, they show that the person doesn't have control over their mind, but that's not true. And if you've ever done so hypnosis feels very much like meditation. It feels the same. It's just the intention may be different. So if you've ever done any kind of meditation, you know that you can open your eyes. And that is the same for hypnosis. So I heard a hypnotist say this one time, and I really thought it was funny. She's like, I would be a millionaire, if I could, if I could control people's minds. So it's just not, if brain control equals brainwashing, it's like, I can't, only you can wash your own brain. Only you can brainwash yourself.
You talked about some of the things that you and some of the clients that you've worked with, some of the things they've come to. So addictions you talked about, but also in terms of, things about like their self-esteem or how they want to feel or how they want to go through the world. Yeah. A big one that I know that you work with your clients on is money and their money beliefs. So tell me about what are some of the things that you've helped people do with regards to money and how you work with people typically when it comes to money, because money is a huge one for a lot of people.
Yeah. I love talking about money. I love talking about money because what I want people to understand about money is that it's not that hard to attract wealth once you understand the concepts of money. And I had such a hard time understanding that money's energy. I heard that and it would just it would trigger me because I didn't get it. I was like, how many times am I going to hear this? So I love talking about money because I explain to clients that I work with and to groups, because I'll do group workshops on money. And I explain the concepts of money. And a lot of times we make it about money because we think it's about money because it's external, because we can put it in our hands and we can spend with it, and we can measure money. But it's not about money. And that used to please don't throw a shoe at me if I can't see anybody here, but it's not about money. It's not about money. And when I can explain and help people understand what it's really about, which is, it's about the way that they feel about money. It's about the way that they feel about themselves. And now I said feel about money, and that might confuse you because you just heard me say it's not about money. But it's about the way that you feel about money. Do you like money? Do you enjoy money? Do you appreciate money? Or does money trigger you? Does money automatically put you in that place where you're just reactive to life? So once you understand that it's the way that you feel about money, and if you're triggered about money, then I help people look at why, what's going on. And if you were to ask yourselves, why am I triggered with money? Some of the things might be because I don't have enough, but I would want you to dive deeper. What is really at the root of what you believe about money? Because I'll share mine. And I didn't know this until I started doing the work. And then I'll talk about how hypnosis can help with that. But I didn't realize that for me, when I was growing up, I was my stepdad was an alcoholic. And he was abusive. So there was a lot of domestic violence growing up for me. And I used to think, and we were poor, very, very poor. My parents are immigrants from Mexico. So I used to think that if my mom had enough money, that we would be able to leave my stepdad and that I would be safe. That if my mom had enough money, she wouldn't have had to work 2 jobs, and then she could have protected me from all the abuse that I received. So I thought that money was safety. I thought that money was security. And I was chasing that my whole life. I'm getting goosebumps because I didn't understand that it wasn't about money. And so when we can really look at the truth of what it is that we are trying to heal, whatever that is for you, because we all have stories with money. And even rich people can be broke in their minds. Even rich people can have money stories. I know, because I've worked with them. And I'm like, when I first started working with rich people, it's just a side note, I was like, how can you not feel abundant when you've got $2 million? But it's the truth. So one of the things that I do with my clients or groups when I'm working with them on money is that we do the deep dive. We figure out what we make money mean, because for me, I made money mean security and safety. And then I asked myself, what is it that I want to believe? I want to believe that I'm safe. I want to believe that I'm loved. I want to believe that that I'm worthy. I want to believe that I can attract wealth. I want to believe that I love money. So then once we figure out what it is that we want to believe, and this is why I love hypnosis so much, and this is why I'm such a badass at what I do, is because I help people in hypnosis believe something different just by telling your subconscious mind, while you're deeply relaxed, your new beliefs. And then guess what happens? You start to believe it. And when you start to believe that you're worthy of wealth and happiness and abundance and joy and alignment and being authentically you and starting your business and living your dreams, when you start to feel that way, you start to take action, that aligned action, moving towards your dreams, whatever that action is, even if they're baby steps, because you feel worthy of that. So you start to live a more aligned life. You start to see opportunities where there were no opportunities before. They were there. We just didn't see them. And I know, because I was one of them. It was right in front of me and I couldn't see it because I was believing that I wasn't worthy of it. And that's honestly how it works. So money is so much fun to talk about because I love figuring out what's at the root of it.
I love that. I love what you said about that. It really is about, and this is, I'm going to guess, applies to anything. So the people that you've worked with, whether it's addictions or whether it is the money or whether it's their health or their weight, that ultimately it's about what's the underlying belief, back to that 90% that is running our lives. It's about the belief, and hypnotherapy is a way to change the belief about whatever the subject is.
Yeah. That's exactly right, Sandra. And when we can change the belief and believe something different about ourselves, what starts to happen is we start to have an inner knowing. It's this inner knowing. Now that comes later. That comes later. You go from believing to knowing, but you start with changing your beliefs. That's where we start. And if you can believe something different, your whole world just opens up. And I know because it happened for me and it's happened for many, many of the people that I work with.
Which is, and it goes back to, what I was saying at the beginning about it's unfortunate, it's sad that so many people have these beliefs that have been fed to them, whether it's through media or whether through, the stage hypnotherapy or whatever, that, hypnotherapy is not for me, because it's such a powerful, that's been my experience. Because as I said, I came to it a skeptic. If anyone was a skeptic, it was me. And I've seen the power of how it can absolutely transform your life. And I've had people who've argued with me who've said, well, I can do affirmations. So how is hypnotherapy different than doing the affirmations? I am rich, I'm abundant, whatever people, people are saying.
I know. It's true. I get asked this question a lot too, because so if you're just working on affirmations with the conscious mind, which is that 10% of the brain that we use, it's the analytical part of our mind. If we're just using that part of our mind to do affirmations, it's a lot harder. I'm not going to say that it can't happen. It's just that people aren't committed enough to repeating the affirmations over and over and over again, so that it can enter into your subconscious and become a belief. It is possible. It's just a lot more work. It's a lot harder to just say your affirmations. So with hypnosis, though, we're able to relax the brain, relax the mind and the body, access the subconscious mind, and give you your affirmations. That's essentially what I'm doing, Sandra, is I'm just taking people's beliefs, that what they want to believe, and I am helping them to believe something different. And if it's their affirmations that they want to use, fantastic. So affirmations are so much more powerful when you are in a theta or alpha brainwave state, which just means a super relaxed state. People are hypnotized all the time and they don't even realize it. We're watching TV and we can be so into a TV show. We can be focused on the TV show. We can still hear the kids and the dog and the husband. We can still hear all of that, but we're just focused on a TV show. We can be hypnotized when driving. Being hypnotized doesn't mean that your eyes are closed. Although that's nice because you go into your internal world when your eyes are closed. So what I say with affirmations is that a big part of the reason why they don't work is because people use their conscious mind and then they're not committed enough because they don't know that you need to do it for at least, so, neuroscience tells us that it takes at least 67 days for a belief to be formed, fully to be formed, meaning that it's unconscious in your mind. It's just the way that you think automatically. And so that's why affirmations don't necessarily work for most people. But when I'm teaching clients about the subconscious mind and the conscious mind, we're working both angles. And so, yes, there's affirmations. And with hypnosis, and I want to be very upfront, one time typically coming to see me once is going to make you feel good, but it's not enough to reprogram your subconscious. Hypnosis is like rocket fuel. It works so quickly. So even after one session, somebody can be like, whew. It was like they just, had a jolt of coffee, or I don't know, they can feel really empowered. But the brain needs repetition and consistency, just like when we were little, just like when we were learning the alphabet, we were learning math, we were learning, history. We had to hear something over and over and over again. So the reason why, and I know I didn't, sorry, I wasn't quite waking up when we first started. And now my brain is just like I'm on fire. But a belief, and I want to talk about this for a moment. A belief, whether it's good or bad, it doesn't matter. A belief is a repeated thought and a repeated feeling, a repeated thought and a repeated feeling. So if we were growing up and we heard, you're always in the way, why can't you be perfect? You're not worthy of that. We can't afford that. Who do you think you are? If you heard that your whole life, guess what's programmed into your brain if you haven't done the work? And what's happening is that many times with the adults that I work with now, they're telling themselves that same thing that they heard growing up and they don't even realize it. Goosebumps again. And so with going back to affirmations are effective. They do work. Even, and this is kind of controversial, even if you don't feel it right away, because I know firsthand, because when I first started my self-development journey, I knew that I did not love myself. And I knew that I did not feel worthy. And I was following Dr. Joe Dispenza. So even though Dr. Joe Dispenza teaches through meditation, I learned hypnosis from Dr. Joe Dispenza, essentially. And I started following him early on, or at least early on in my self-development path, which has been 5 years. And I remember I heard him say that through repetition, you can reprogram your subconscious. And I decided, I was like, I don't love myself and I don't feel worthy. I knew that. And so what I decided to do was I decided to create the belief, I love myself and I am worthy. So the exact opposite of that. And I told myself that over and over and over again, because I wanted to believe it so bad that I was worthy, that I just told myself that. And I would wake up in the middle of the night and go to the bathroom and I would be like, I love myself and I'm worthy, until it became embedded in my brain, until it became unconscious, until it became a part of what I believed about myself. And then I didn't have to say it all the time anymore. So I know that it works. It's just a lot of work.
I bet it works, but it's just a lot of work. It just takes longer. And so really, hypnotherapy is almost like a shortcut. I mean, really using both. And I love what you said, that it's not a either or, that when you use the two of them together, like that you do your hypnotherapy and then you also do your affirmations.